The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. In a recent interview, Grant Morrison basically said that they believe that Hal Jordan is pansexual. And this has caused a bit of frustration and stir and angry people making videos about how oh my God, here we go again. Now we've got a classic comic character. Hal Jordan is a pansexual. And why can't they just leave these characters alone? And, I completely get the frustration and the exhaustion. Absolutely, I do. There's been just so much of this tinkering with the backstory and everything else. But, and just hear me out here, if you are a longtime Hal Jordan fan, then honestly, the sexual deviancy that you thought he would be tagged with did start with a P, but it wasn't pansexual. His entire relationship with Arissa, the 13-year-old, I think, put it this way, I think if Hal Jordan's getting off easy, that is not the right way to say that, if truly they want to call him a pansexual. So the big question is, what is pansexual? And this is an area where when they talk about characters or people being coming out as pansexual, when they live in a world of superheroes and aliens and all that other kind of stuff, it's not the same. And people need to just, look, I'm just trying to lay it out here as simple as possible. Pansexuality is something that people today on planet Earth, then in real life, claim is alignment that they have chosen for themselves, and that's fine. But there's a big difference in being pansexual in the real world and pansexual in a fantasy world that might include orcs and elves and space aliens and creatures and all that kind of stuff. If you're saying Lando Calrissian is pansexual, what you're basically saying is he has sex with anything, robots, aliens, whatever he comes across, he has sex with it. He Jordan? Yeah, if we're doing that, Captain Kirk, you've seen him having sex with aliens. Hal Jordan, we know he is, he banged Arissa. And so there's, if the definition here is not just traditional female types, but whatever he basically comes across, then sure, there's a lot of characters in sci-fi that identify as pansexual. However, if you're trying to adapt that to today's terms, it doesn't work because, quite bluntly, and I'm just going to throw this out there, a lot of the people here that in the last week or so, or whenever this interview came out, made all the videos about Grant Morrison's trying to ruin another DC character. Oh my God, they're all going to be LGBTQ before it's all over, and just kind of being really angry about it. If we lived in a world where you could travel into space, get on a spaceship, travel around, go to other planets with three-breasted alien women, whatever it happened to be, I guarantee you, most of the people doing videos complaining about this stuff would be banging everything they could. That's I'm just throwing that out there. But that's where this stuff doesn't work, quite frankly. So Grant, his exact interview, just to get the quotes right, he's talking about his Green Lantern run that he did with Liam Sharp, and specifically. He was talking about Hal Jordan and when he was cared for by Nurse Leo Olakwa, who was in season 1, and Leia was a female alien, but also had, multiple arms and other things, but also looked shapely, had breasts, and wore a bow in her hair, or maybe that was part of her head. It was kind of unclear. Anyway, regardless, he basically inferred that at one point Hal Jordan dated this nurse and almost absolutely had sex with her. Even though the character of this nurse looks vaguely female, it's clearly not Earth female. So if you're saying, so Morrison basically says Nurse Lelo Olakwa was introduced in season 1, number 2, but here, meaning in this more recent comic that they were talking about, we learned she and Jordan. Is that misgendering the alien, Grant? Come on now. You're better than that. Anyway, we learn she and Jordan have a romantic history. So I wanted to suggest that a boho Lothario like Hal Jordan, with a whole universe of worlds at his disposal, would tend toward a pansexual persuasion, which got a bunch of people like, hooray, he's one of us now. Except he's not one of you now, because you're not able to leave the planet and have sex with aliens. This is, these two terms do not come together. I mean, no pun intended. So anyway, this whole thing is a bit of, I don't know. It's a story that is not a story. If we want to start labeling characters that go off into space and have sex with aliens, then, more power to you. But let's not try and pretend that that's analogous to people who live on Earth, where we have no aliens, so you have no space travel, and you are pretty much limited to what you have, going on here. I mean, I think, who knows? Some of these aliens he's dating, I think, are potentially closer to animals than humans anyway. So, I mean, this opens up all kinds of doors. In the end, Jeff Thorne was right about Hal Jordan. I think that's what we can all kind of come to agree to. Anyway, but meaning, this is old news. So Grant makes this statement, and everybody kind of goes nuts about it, and they are clapping Grant on the back for being very progressive. Except again, back in Green Lantern 205, this 13-year-old Green Lantern girl, Orissa, who basically sees Hal Jordan as a father figure, falls in love with him, and Hal's like, all right, I'll sleep with this. And she's not only clearly an alien. I mean, orange skin color, long ears, comes from a different planet completely. In order to date Hal, Orissa ages herself up and just goes for it. Anyway, there's lots of oddness to Hal Jordan during this time period. Hal was like kind of bragging about his girlfriend was Supergirl. I mean, it was weird. It was all kinds of weird. So, again, Hal Jordan just is very excited that he's no longer, being labeled a pedophile. Now he's pansexual. So I guess that's a step up for him. But anyway, what was funny about that story at the time, and this tells you how much we've changed as a society, is back in the 80s or so, Hal Jordan would be banging alien women all the time. So would Captain Kirk back in the 70s. This stuff was going on all the time. And most people were fine with it. The defense of, nobody got into the logistics of the whole thing. They're just like, well, the aliens he's kind of having sex with look hot. So, good way to go. It's defensible if she's hot. That was the defense. So if we're gonna roll with that, I don't know. I watched a couple of people absolutely lose their minds over this label, and so the problem here is a label of pansexual. It's taking something that is not really that. They did the same thing with Lando. If you've got, is Lando? For that matter, let's stop pretending that Lando is Earth human. He's not. We haven't seen Earth. We have no idea if it even existed. We see humanoid characters. For all we know, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan, all these characters, Leia, they're not from Earth. These characters didn't grow up in Jersey. They grew up in other planets. They're everyone you're seeing is an alien in this entire thing. But anyway, that's the world of comics for you. So anyway, that's the news. Grant Morrison suggesting that Hal Jordan is pansexual, and duh. Again, we need a new word. We need a new word for fiction, because this is fiction, and in fiction, you can fly off into space and have sex with aliens, and that's what Hal Jordan does. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I find this entire thing absurd on all levels. It's absurd, and this is a classic case of what are you even doing here? Anyway. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.